Give a warm PWX welcome to Chief Storyteller, Bob Allen.
Well, thank you. Good morning. So let me start here because this is important. We have always shared stories. It's what we do. If you think about it in terms of evolution, how else did a relatively soft creature with no claws, no teeth, no thick scales, can't run very fast, can't be on our own until we're 5, 6 years old, how'd we take over a whole planet? Well, two things. These, opposable thumbs, not saying that's bad, it's good engineering, but the big thing is we developed the ability to take input from our environment and also synthesize things, put them together, and share those pictures in our brains with other people. That's how we took over the planet. The real marketplace was a real market. And the way that used to work is, you know, you'd get up in the morning on market week and you'd load your bags of dehydrated dates on your camel and you'd kiss the wife and kids goodbye and you'd get on the camel and you'd ride for days across the desert at peril to your life and you'd go to the market. And when you got to the market, you'd spread your blanket out, you'd sit down, you'd sell your dates. That took about 4 hours. You stayed 3 days. The reason was because at night, around the fire, people told stories. Here's what I'd like you to do, and I know this is a little dangerous because it's morning and maybe you just got up. I want you to close your eyes if you come. I'm going to tell you a story. No sooner than he nodded off, he heard a voice saying, "You're burning me whiskers, man." He looked around. He didn't see anybody. The old man wasn't there. He couldn't see anybody for miles. He looked around. "You're burning me whiskers, man." He looked. It was the meat. The meat was talking to him, and it began to grow arms and legs, and it used its hands, and it pushed itself off the spit, and it reached out for Rory and said, "You're burning me whiskers, man." Rory jumped up, threw his bag over his back, ran back off into the night with the meat nipping at his heels, reaching for Rory. Said, "You're burning me whiskers, man." It climbed up his back legs. It got its hands around his throat. It was choking. It said, "You're burning me whiskers." He threw the meat off and ran and ran and ran until he found himself right back on the front porch of the old man's house with the door opening slowly, out of breath. The old man said, "Rory, you're back. Do you have a story for me now?" We just went someplace together for a couple of minutes. And we had arguably a shared experience, but we didn't have the same experience. If we had time, we could go around the room, and somebody would describe Rory as a redhead. Some would say, no, he had black hair. No, he was tall, he was short. He was fat, kind of skinny. I mean, that's what happens in our mind. We make pictures when we tell stories. And this is a critical fact because even neurologically now, we know that story is the native food of your brain. 300 hours of YouTube video are loaded every minute. Every 60 seconds, 300 hours of new content are loaded. Even though there's so much volume, if we are not intentionally designing, constructing, building, and telling our story the way we want to tell it, it's going to be told anyway, is being told anyway. And often it's told by somebody vaguely known as them. Here's what we've learned. If I know my audience, because I started with them, and I said, wait, what story am I living in with my audience? What behavior do I want from my audience? What do I want them to do? I want them to come to my theme park more often. I want them to learn to drive a bus. I want them to be safe aboard a Navy ship. It doesn't matter what I want them to do. If I identify that behavior, I can back up and say, okay, what experience, if I gave it to them, would get them to act the way I want? And then I can go back and say, great, what story do I use to design that experience? Powerful stories, that's not necessarily the same thing as creative, and we're going to talk about that. They are constructions. They are designed and built on principles of engineering, just like any other great structure. Second, broadband consciousness. There's two forms of broadband. One of them runs into the side of these things, and that's the non-important one. The other one runs into here. That's the important one. We now have a broadband consciousness globally. We are always tuned and ready for a new story. And the last thing is, I don't care how many times you tell your story, if it's completely inconsistent with the experience in the real world, people have decided they're going to believe their lion eyes and not us. And every time you talk to anyone, you're telling stories. Anytime you enter a dialogue, you're telling stories. Anytime you're out in the world representing what you do and the people you do it for, you are enacting a myth. But you have to love your audience. You have to fall in love, literally, into a place with an audience, and you have to embrace that place when you tell a story. You have to know how the ending is before you start, or you'll never be able to get off stage, and you'll be caught. So know where you're going with your story. We like to use the predominant language of storytelling, which we call kitchen table-ese. You have to tell stories in the language your audience can understand. You can't talk down to your audience. Never talk down to your audience. So I would encourage you to be out in the world, and I would encourage you to tell your story. I'd encourage you to not rush. I'd encourage you to occasionally don't cut to the chase. Don't just give the bullet points. Tell the whole tale. Thanks very much. I appreciate you having me this morning.